Hello everybody and welcome to the Animorphs channel. I'm going to be running through my 10 things I'd like to see in the upcoming Animorphs movie. Number 1 on the list of things I want to see in the Animorphs movie. A top quality soundtrack. Should seem pretty obvious, but a soundtrack can really make or break a movie, and I don't think you can take it lightly. So I think a top quality composer to come in and give a really good feel for this movie, to get it bouncing, to get it eerie. And I think eerie is probably the best way to go about it. Almost like a horror score. Because let's face it, Animorphs is basically horror for kids. So we can have almost like a triumphant classical mixed with almost like the shining level of eerie horror soundtrack. Now if I were to choose a composer for the soundtrack, there is currently someone I consider to be a genuine musical genius, and he runs a project called, or he plays in a project called the Deer Hunter, D-E-A-R Hunter. His name is Casey Crescenzo, and no kidding, I think this man is a genius composer. He does a lot of rock music, but he also puts a lot of classical influences into his music, and also does some very classical stuff. And he covers a whole range. He's done sort of country music, he's done pop, he's done rock, he's done all sorts, and classical. And almost screenplay type musical. Or script, musical type music, basically. This man is a genius, and if I could choose one person to come up with a soundtrack that really brings the feeling of horror and dread, but also triumph and heroism, I think Casey Crescenzo would really pull off that job well. So that's point number 1, probably longer than my other one's going to be. By the way, I'm wearing the shirt Deer Hunter, so if you're interested, go check Deer Hunter out. I recommend it. Number 2, returning actors. The TV series from back in the early 2000s was pretty dire. I'm pretty sure we all agree on that. But the actors were alright. You know, they looked like the characters should have looked if they'd been aged 3 or 4 years. I think it would be great to get back the actors Nadia Nascimento, I think was Cassie, Boris Cabrera was Marco. Basically, this lot, let's bring that lot back. Shawn Ashmore is probably the only one who's still really active in the acting business. And he has previously said that he'd be interested in doing either Chapman or Jake's dad, possibly Visser 3. I think that would be interesting. I'd love to see Shawn Ashmore play Visser 3. He's not the sort of actor you'd think, oh, that's a Visser 3, but it could work. It could work, but, you know, give him the right sort of hairstyle and, I don't know, make him look funny, so he's sort of looking past you rather than at you, because that's a genuine way to creep people out. If you've ever wanted to creep someone out, easiest thing to do, just look past them, almost through them. Focus your eyes on something behind someone. That's a good way to creep someone out, just in case you wanted to know. So yeah, let's have even some cameos from some of these actors, the stars of the TV series of Animorphs. I know that Boris Cabrera has left the acting business and is now a personal fitness trainer. That's the last I heard anyway. That could be wrong, but that's what I think he currently does. But still, give him a ring. Boris, you're playing Marco again. Or no, you're playing Marco's dad. Or, we know that you don't act anymore. Just be in the background. Be a background controller in one scene. It'd just be nice to have them in cameo roles. So that's my second thing, even if it's just 1 or 2 of them. Probably, I reckon Shawn Ashmore's going to be in it. Don't hold me to that, but I'd like to see it happen. Point number 3. Now, technically on my list this is point number 7, but I think it's so close to point 2 that it's near enough the same, so put them back to front. Cameos from, drumroll, Michael Grant and Catherine Applegate. There was a zoo that I used to work at which had a movie made after it. And the guy that wrote the book that the movie was based on had a cameo near the end of the film where he shouts out a single line or something like that. I'd like to see Michael and Catherine get their own cameos as well. You know, I don't know, Michael Grant can be Michael Grant can be, like Marco, just a controller in the background. Catherine could be a teacher at the school or something. Give yourselves roles. Give yourselves a credit. I think you've done a fantastic job writing the books. It'd be nice for you to get an acting credit on top of that. So Michael and Catherine, I would love to see you two in a cameo role at some point, somewhere, somehow. But number 4, something that the TV series missed, and probably missed by quite a margin. Quality alien design and production. This will probably be CGI in the upcoming film. I doubt we'll see any puppets. If they were puppets, let's hope they'd be better than the ones that we saw in the TV series, because let's face it, they were gopping. Especially the hork-bajir. It was an embarrassment, let's be honest. Let's have the aliens look more, or at least similar to this, so that they look real, they look like characters you can get to know. The same can be said for Taxxons, Yerks, and maybe a couple other little aliens here and there in little other scenes. Maybe get a Ged in there or something. Budget would restrict those sorts of things, which is why in my previous video I said Taxxons probably might not be in there. But let's see some quality aliens. Particularly, I want to see quality Andalites and hork-bajir. Obviously, because they're everyone's favourite aliens, really. I mean, there are some oddballs out there that like something else, but let's just... don't need them. Don't need them. Point 5. Again, similar to point 4. Quality props. Things like the Escafil device or the morphing cube. They did it all right in the TV series, actually. It's probably one of the only things they sort of got right. A glowy cube. But, you know, that's one of the easier ones to do. But things like Dracon beams, whatever you want to call them. In the TV series, they were basically a torch. It was like someone walking around with a torch. And it looked shite. So let's have proper guns. Proper guns. Because you can really go wild with these sorts of things with CGI. And nice shimmering, gleaming rifles would be excellent. Probably a bit more challenging will be ships. Sorry, a bit of dust. So Elfangor's ship, the Visser's ship. We'll probably get a couple of bug fighters in there as well. That's 3 variety of ship. And it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. How close they get to the original designs that were found in the books. But we want to see them good. In the TV series, it was all sort of hidden by shadow and glare. So we hardly saw it. But if we get some nice visuals on spaceships, that will make me a very happy bunny. Now, before I move on to point 6, I'm going to do shilling, because it's YouTube and I have to shill things. I write fan fiction, so this is number 55 that I wrote, and I've got it in book form. I also did 56 and onwards. If you're interested in my fan fiction, to know what I think went on after book 54, there will be a link in the description. I've done many fics, I'm up to like 64 now, as well as some Chronicles-esque side books. And the Animorphs Discord needs you. There is a link in the description. If it runs out or expires, just comment below and say, I want an invite to the Animorphs Discord. We're an active community, we share all sorts of Animorphs stuff, and we've got a really nice group of people who are more than willing to chat to you. Just don't go to the boring people segment. And trust me on that, you don't want to go. Moving back to what we were doing before. Number 6. This should be a pretty obvious one, but one that can easily be missed. No holding back on the series lore. There's an awful lot of books to this series. And with it, an awful lot of lore. L-O-R-E, lore. And that's what really gave the series depth, in my opinion. Something that the TV series... Again, and I say this all the time, the TV series didn't do X, Y, Z, which is why it's ABC. But it missed out on a lot of the depth. A lot of the alien races that were mentioned here, there, that appeared. all this jargon that the Andalites and the Yeerks would bring, and the history that's given here and there. Animorphs was brilliant with that history thrown in. So I think where possible, let's have that lore involved. Let's not skip on the lore. Let's not say, oh, down the line we might not have budget to do X, Y, Z, so let's not do A, B, C now. Just why not? I like lore, and so should you, Michael. Seriously though, I think Michael probably understands this point and will try his best, and Catherine. I get most of my new stuff from Michael Grant's page, so that's why I'm addressing him more specifically. They know that we like that sort of stuff, so I have faith in those two, the authors, that lore will be important. Let's hope. Number 7. Again, similar to the last one. Full scope. Similar to lore, but a bit different. In the TV series, for example, when they went down to the Yeerk pool, it felt like the size of my room here. A bit small. A bit like someone's shed. It didn't feel like an Earth-wide invasion. It felt like 50 aliens landed on a spaceship yesterday, dug a hole in the ground, and we're starting on day 1. This needs to feel like we have a serious infestation. Worldwide, with thousands at least of these Yeerks. We need the scope. We need to feel in danger. And one of the ways to feel in danger is scope. For example, going back to the Yeerk pool again, it was mentioned, I believe, I forget where, that the Yeerk pool, the actual base, was as large as the town it sat beneath. When I read that, I picture a cavern. A massive, massive cavern underground. Miles that you can fit football fields in. I think that was mentioned as well at some point. So we need massive, massive, massive little, almost like villages at the sides of this pool, or multi-pools, or whatever you have. And it needs to be depressing. That's not going to be an easy thing to do. Depressing, but also PG-13. We need to get across that these Yeerks are serious and are to be taken seriously. It was like that in the books, except for when Visser 3 came up and we got bored of him after book 5. Scope, seriousness, real danger. That's going to be pivotal. Number 8. Now this might be difficult. Now, by the way, Michael and Catherine, this isn't a slight on you. You're both very politically orientated. I follow you on Twitter, and it's politics, and very, how do I put this? You're not moderates, basically. I feel that if politics is put into this movie, it will immediately cut off a section of the audience. I want this movie to succeed across all groups. And I think the stories, the relatable characters in this cover all sorts of groups of people. I do worry, Michael and Catherine. I understand that you're passionate about politics, but I would hate to see this movie be loaded with politics, essentially. I think it would alienate people. Funnily enough, aliens, whatever. I think I personally would, my opinion of the movie would suffer if it was loaded with politics. I mean, to an extent, it's alright if it's relevant to the story. But I've seen other films and TV productions do it where they'll throw in 2020, this year, insert year, politics into whatever production they're doing, and it's cringe. It is absolute cringe. So I understand that you are very passionate. Michael Grant is constantly politicising on Twitter, and you know, that's him, that's what he wants to do. But please, 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 I beg of you, please don't turn this into something where I'm going to get my political heckles up. We've seen it all too often recently, and I'd hate to see Animorphs become another victim of that. So I just ask of you, you can dismiss me all you want, just let's keep the politics out of Animorphs as much as it can realistically be put out of it. Number 9. Story over gory. That's a nice little phrase that I've thought up. Story over gory. A problem that we see a lot of modern films, it's all about the thrills and the spills, especially thrills and spills movie. Car chases, followed by a car flipping over, explosions, helicopters flying through burning buildings. It's McDonald's, it's Burger King, it's the fast food of the movie world. It's not very healthy, it's a bit easy, and it's cheap and it's nasty. Story over gory means that the focus of the story is the story rather than the gory. I think it's a pretty simple idea to follow. I don't want Michael Bay directing this film. I know he's not, but I don't want to feel like it's Michael Bay directing the film. I'd like it to be story driven, as it was largely in these books. It was hugely about the characters, and I don't want that to be skipped over. I understand that it's easier to put gory in than story into a 1.5 hour flick or 2 hour. Maybe it's a sacrifice you have to make. I hope not. I hope we put more emphasis on what's going on rather than explosion. And last but certainly not least is number 10. And, as is common in this video, it's a bit similar to the last. Nuance. Nuance is Animorphs. Animorphs is nuance. Nuance, Animorphs, same thing. Which is why the book series was so good. Also another reason why the TV series was so crap. The TV series is very black and white. The Animal series is very grey. Now, someone covered this in a video. Animorphs was tragic, I believe the video was. Great video, covers a lot of the characters. I'll put a link in the description. I forget what the channel's name is, but yeah, go check it out. We go over the fact that these are not black and white characters. These are really, really, by the end of the series, screwed up characters. Things like the David trilogy, or the story of the hork-bajir as controllers. These really added moral ambiguity to the story of Animorphs. And it would be a pity for that nuance to disappear, because it was that complexity that drew me in, personally. And we look at Andalites and hork-bajir. Andalites, at first perceived as the good guys. Later on in the series, you find out that they're all a bit dickish. Hork-bajir, shock troops of the Urk Empire. We find out quite quickly that these are pacifist, tree-dwelling bark-eaters. It's these nuances that make the story so hard-hitting. It really punches you. It says, war is this horrible thing where bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. That is vital to war. That is vital to a story about war. And I think if we lost those nuances, we lose Animorphs. So those are my 10 what I want in Animorphs the movie. Think of it what you will. Please write down your top 10 things you want to see in the Animorphs movie. And I shall be back at some point with another video, probably covering what storyline I think the movie will take. Remember to join the Discord, go watch whatever videos I put in the link box. Remember to go check out my fanfiction. I highly recommend my own work, because I'm nothing if not humble. And I shall see you soon. Goodbye.